It feels like everybody online is saying that this is a giant Xbox W. This is the first Xbox W in quite a while. And
Shorty bad with the Xbox on. Asha Shama and Microsoft. Light them, Xbox. Light them, Xbox. Shorty bad with the Xbox on. Asha Shama and Microsoft. Light them, Xbox. Light them, Xbox. Asha Shama, you know what she gonna do. Game Pass Ultimate gonna be reduced for you. Asha Shama up in the booth, taking them exclusive games for you. You don't know what you gonna do. Get that Helix if you know you're supposed to. Gonna go be mine. Like all the time. When you know I get my rhymes. And it's all on time. And it's on my mind.
it's the first Xbox W in
Xbox,
quite a while. Even Xbox haters are saying,
everyone want a Xbox.
Now, some people are giving this
Xbox,
credit to Asha Sherman.
Xbox,
This
everyone want a Xbox. Xbox, Xbox, everyone want a Xbox. Xbox, Xbox. Look at that glaring light of hope from Microsoft. I guess Xbox is not dead. Look at this. What is this? What's going on here? We got Microsoft second coming back from the ashes. Oh, it only took 3 years for it to happen. Whoa.
new CEO of Xbox, the person
Xbox
that took
is
over
not
for
dead.
Spencer, she's kind of being honest about the fact that Xbox is just in such an unsalvageably bad position.
Here we go again.
Xbox console sales are in the gutter. The controllers aren't even sold. Nobody's buying the games at this point.
Oh yeah, just like nobody's buying Marathon even though the game's multiplayer. I find it so funny that you guys want to keep saying that nobody's buying games on Xbox. They are. They're just buying very selective titles like the gamers do on PlayStation. Because if that is the argument that we're using, then you're going to have to explain to your audience why nobody bought Marathon. If anything, that game did far better on PC than it even did on your own platform. But yet, we ain't having these arguments, are we?
Even Game Pass itself, the whole idea behind the Xbox brand is, Xbox games are wherever you want. It feels like even Game Pass, the numbers are in the gutter. Doing this price cut, removing Call of Duty, I think this is a very smart decision. Now, will it work? We'll see. But
well, the whole idea is to set it up for the upcoming Helix. That's the whole thing. See, that's what you guys don't understand, and I've told you guys this already. This is not a surprise to me. Considering that the Helix is coming out, why wouldn't Microsoft reduce the price? Because if you're going to merge your console and PC gaming division together, you're going to have to make the price of Game Pass more appealing. I also think they raised it up on you PC gamers without you realizing. But like I said, if this is what they're going to do and they're going to give Xbox gamers access to the games on Steam as well as all these other launchers, then by all means, I'm happy for it. Maybe PC gamers might be a little upset considering that they've already had Game Pass. But also I'm hearing that Microsoft is going to potentially make those games that are also playable on Xbox also playable on PC as well. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, this is speculation, but understand that if you do see that happen, understand where you heard it first. That's all I'm saying.
Ultimate has become too expensive for too many players. You know what? I hate corpo speak. We talk about this all the time in the channel, but I hate whenever there's like layoffs or some big acquisitions and they're like,
look at that. The ponies are upset. You got PlayStation increasing their PlayStation Plus and you got Game Pass Ultimate actually being somewhat at a reasonable price without the Call of Duty. I personally never even cared about those games. Maybe for some Call of Duty players because they probably looked at that. People were probably buying the game anyway. So they probably like, well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we got this acquisition. We put these games here. Now we actually worried about the games that actually matter to the core gamer, which would be me. So I'm actually excited about this because I don't really care about buying Call of Duty every year. And that was probably one of those games that people was going to probably give Microsoft money anyway. So they probably said, why do we even add this game to the service? We're just making our service far less more appealing. Now, I will say, if you do the totals, it's really $25 a month, including tax in some places. I mean, if you pay $5 to $7 more, you're going to get, I would assume at that time, Miss it. Too many players started with dropping the price from 20. Okay, that's good. Future. Oh, but the Call of Duty titles won't be there. So you're still losing something. Now, if you're a Call of Duty fan, you're still losing something just because Microsoft reduced the price. Okay, so it will remain available. Okay, they probably talk about the existing ones.
Microsoft family. I like the fact that so far, Asha Sharma is so good about just saying things straight out. Game Pass was too expensive. There's not a way to spin that or flavor that. Game Pass was just too expensive. It needed this price decrease. Starting today, we're dropping the price from $30 a month to $23 a month. Future Call of Duty titles will no longer join Game Pass Ultimate on day one. They'll be joining the tier the holiday after launch, so about a year later. Current Call of Duty titles will remain at Ultimate. We'll keep the learning and evolving Game Pass to something has gone wrong. Some secret...
I mean, we're still missing out on one of the biggest games, but they probably realized that to add Call of Duty to the Game Pass Ultimate, especially if it's just like maybe one or two, probably one game every year, it just wasn't worth that price increase. And most people that like Call of Duty will have no problem just buying the game anyway. So like I said, I do appreciate this reduced price of Game Pass Ultimate. I still wish it went back to the original 20, but Dreamcast guys out here saying it's a W because you're still paying $25 a month. So you're really just saving $60. But I will say, like I've said before, it's still far better than what you're getting on PlayStation. You are paying for PlayStation Plus just to play the same games that are available on Xbox. These games that you see here, you're paying for on PlayStation on top of giving PlayStation money to play these same games online. So like I've said, when that Helix comes out, Microsoft is coming here to show you that they will be the best place for third-party gaming. No different than PC, especially in regards to consoles.
Over at Activision, once they joined that Microsoft division, seems like they've been a lot worse. Here's the deal, right? If Game Pass Ultimate is prepaid, now there's a price cut, will it be extended? There has been a lot of discussion about, okay, is it worth that price now? Is it still something I'm willing to invest back into? I think that I'm kind of curious about...
I mean, besides Call of Duty, I mean, you're still getting access to 500 games a year. That is pretty crazy. And the funny thing is, you guys hate this. You know what the funny thing is? You guys hate this idea, but yet y'all had no problem giving Blockbuster $8 to rent a game for 2 days. And you guys out here complaining about this? You know, back then, gamers would have loved this. I know a lot of you guys hate these subscription services, but gamers back then, imagine if they had stuff like this back in the days. You know what I mean? Convenient, with the online being the way it is now. Imagine being able to have access to all the Super Nintendo games just by paying a subscription. I mean, that's something that Sega tried to do a long time ago, but yet technology just wasn't as advanced based off the visions that Sega had. But this is all based off what Sega was doing, right? With their little cloud thing and all. I mean, like I said, Sega is the true ambassadors of evolution in video gaming. Sega was ahead of the time, even before Microsoft even came into the scene. So like I've said, much shout out to Sega. Remember the Sega channel? All these things. These are all things that are reminiscent to what Sega was doing at the time, except the problem is the technology just wasn't up there to what Sega envisioned. Now it is. And now we see Microsoft taking full advantage of it.
Two separate parts of this. What happens if the Game Pass numbers don't go back up? Like, legitimately, let's just do this hypothetical, right? What if the Game Pass numbers...
I don't really think it's that. I just think Microsoft doesn't care, and I think they're just preparing this for the upcoming Helix. I think that's what they're doing. I don't think Microsoft is expecting anybody to go buy an Xbox over this. I think this is to help prepare themselves that when their new upcoming platform comes out, to make it far more appealing than what you're getting on PlayStation. Because people are going to start taking notice. People are going to be like, why am I paying for premium if Xbox is giving me far more day and date? Yeah, it doesn't have Call of Duty games, but we buy those games anyway at $23 a month. People are going to start looking at that, and then if Microsoft hits the kicker and say free online multiplayer, it's done. It's done. What is Sony going to be able to do to combat that? Because Sony is so glued to making that PlayStation Plus membership. Microsoft doesn't care about making free online. You know why? Because people are buying Game Pass Ultimate for the games. You see, they're able to depend on revenue based off games while Sony is only depending on it because you want to play NBA 2K online. You get what I'm saying? That's all it is. It's really just a third-party box.
to just never go back up. Even if they do this price decrease, what if they do another one and drop it back down to, I don't know, let's be super pie in the sky. Let's say the price goes back down to like $15 a month. But Xbox, it'll exist on PC, but we really need you to start buying games. Most of y'all have already jumped ship to PlayStation.
Well, we're going to need you to start buying games too, because Marathon sold abysmally. I like it how PlayStation gamers always want to talk about how Xbox gamers don't buy games, but yet when you look at their exclusives, they don't even exist. Where's their franchise? Where's all their beloved franchises? Oh, that's right. Y'all didn't support them. You didn't buy those games. You didn't buy SOCOM, because if you bought them, we would still be seeing them. So I don't understand how PlayStation fanboys think they have the audacity to tell Nintendo and Xbox gamers that you don't buy enough games, but yet Nintendo and Xbox franchises are existing and yours aren't. I find that to be funny. I mean, even the current games that you guys have now don't even sell, even with a multi-platform strategy.
We really need you guys to start buying games somewhere. Apparently, according to some sales metrics, Starfield completely bombed on PlayStation. Like, apparently, Starfield coming to PS5 did not really make a splash. Maybe that's just some reading of it. Maybe
still #1 pre-order, though.
They'll sell better over time, but it does seem like...
That also means that if Starfield flopped on PlayStation, then that means that you guys don't buy games either. I heard the game sold like 144,000. It was the #1 game on your platform. So that also means that people are buying less games than what they bought Starfield, because it was the #1 pre-ordered game. See, you see how I can use their logic against them? So that means you don't buy games either. That's what it means. You're like, what do you mean, GameStop? If Starfield only sold 144,000 and it was the top pre-ordered game on your system, and you're complaining about how bad that game sold on PS5, then you have to imagine all the other games have sold far worse on it. You're like, damn, GameStop, you're right. So that means you don't buy games either, even though you have no other option but to buy the games, and you still don't buy them. Come on now.
In general, they're still trying to find...
Like I said, people buy very selective games. Resident Evil 9s, Crimson Deserts. We get this. Cyberpunks. We get it. But people don't buy every single game. You people know that. Not even for Nintendo.
To sort of get people back into the camp. A lot of people that just started gaming today are kind of forgetting that Game Pass used to be this really big deal. That Xbox used to be this cultural juggernaut.
I don't care. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, man, that's my whole assessment of the whole Game Pass Ultimate being reduced. It's not necessarily to help improve or get any more sales to Game Pass. I know what people's like, I mean, yes and no, but I'm saying it's to help prepare for their new upcoming Helix. That's really why they're doing this. This is all in preparation for that, and you guys can still enjoy the reap of those benefits as long as you're not a huge fan of Call of Duty. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, take care. Peace out.